This is George H. Schreffler awards, patches, and anything else. And picture of the aircraft that he flew in World War II. I don't know what the part's for. The interview of George H. Schreffler Sr. Okay. First question. How old were you when the U.S. entered the war in 1941? Do you remember?
Yeah, I was 23 years old.
Okay. Were you enlisted or drafted into the war?
I was reserved.
And you were 21? How old were you when you were drafted?
I wasn't drafted.
You were enlisted?
I was Air Reserve.
Ah, okay. How old were you?
I was 19 when I joined the Air Reserve.
Okay. Do you remember? Oh, okay, never mind. Did any of your friends or family enlist, draft, or were they in the reserve with you?
I had a brother, no, not with me, but I had a brother who was drafted in the Navy. That I can tell you.
Okay.
And what he done, I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Okay, what else?
Did you keep in contact with your friends and family in the war?
I still correspond continuously with one from England.
Okay.
An English sailor. Yes, I do.
Okay. Were you married or engaged when you left for the war?
I was married and had 2 children.
Okay. What was your job and rank in the Air Force?
I was a master sergeant.
Is that like what you wanted to be, or?
Right here's what I was, an aerial engineer, right there.
And you got to choose what you wanted to do? You got to choose what you wanted to do?
I studied to do that. I
Okay.
went to school to do that.
What? Were you a pilot?
I was an aerial engineer.
Okay.
Now what my job was, before that airplane took off, it was my job to see that it was flight worthy, that there was no red hashes on any of the records that plane couldn't take off. Okay?
Where did your job take you, like travel-wise overseas?
Okay, oh my God. You want to start New York?
Just go where you want.
New York, Panama, San Francisco, Hawaii, Hickam Field, back to Middletown. Okay?
Anywhere overseas that it took you?
Now we lived done. Then we went to Labrador, we went to Iceland, or to Greenland, to Iceland, to Scotland, to England, to Africa, to Sicily, to Italy, to southern France, and over in the Balkans. How's that traveling?
Yeah. What supplies or anything did you take with you during your travels?
145 Colt pistol, period. That's all the armament we had.
That's all you got? What about like food or like shelter for at night when you slept?
We tried to make it where there was some. If there wasn't, tough.
Okay. What about your like eating? Like how did you eat, or like when? Did you have time to do that?
Okay, what we had was K rations. You know what they are?
No.
Sipox. And then it is packaged foods. You can either eat them cold or you could eat them warm them, if you had a way to warm them. I used to warm them on the exhaust system of the airplane. And then it had 4 cigarettes and a little pack in there. Yeah, that was K rations. That's what it was called. That's what we ate.
What battles did you participate or had you been around?
We go. We were the first to go into combat. We invaded North Africa. Okay. In the invasion of North Africa, we hit flak and we were shot down. We were all right. Taken prisoner. The Vichy French. Okay. Then the Vichy French, we were wounded. Vichy French took us to a German hospital. No anesthetics, but they took out what had to be picked out of us. Then the 2nd Armored Division freed us, and we went back into the war again.
Okay. What shifts did you work during your job in the war?
24 hours a day.
Okay. So did you have any time off? Like any free time?
No, we had no R&R at that time. You just continued on. The free time you had was when you were down doing the airplanes, and maybe you would get into a town or something, and that was it.
Okay. Do you remember D-Day?
D-Day?
Yeah.
What's D-Day? The invasion of Europe.
Yes.
Invasion of
We were
Norway.
already in southern France, for crying out loud.
So you do remember it?
Huh?
You do remember it?
Yes, of course I do.
Did you have like any specific orders or duties for that day?
Did I have any specific orders for what?
For D-Day, that day.
No, we were on a mission at that particular time, and
Okay.
taking care of our little stuff down back, down that other end of the door.
Okay. What did you do in an air raid situation?
What everybody else done, look for a hole, jump in the sucker.
Okay. What did you miss most from back in the United States, like back home?
What did I miss?
Yeah.
Oh, your family, of course.
Anything that you did before you went to the war that you couldn't
No.
do then?
No, you had a job to do. That was my main objective.
What was your most memorable moment from over in the war?
From that war?
Yeah.
The fellows we left over and under the olive trees over there never had a chance.
Do you remember what your worst memory was?
The worst?
Yeah.
Yeah, scared to hell.
And you said you had friends from over in the war that you still keep in contact with?
Friends?
Yeah, from overseas.
Sure. Lots of them.
Okay. When did you come home from the war?
I come home from the war on a hospital ship in November 1944.
And
A British hospital ship.
do you remember that day very well, or do you remember what happened that day?
That-
Like, do you
That
remember?
That week?
Well, the day, the day that you came home.
Oh, the day that I come home. Of course I remember.
Could you explain it,
I
please?
was the first off the boat.
Okay. How did you adjust from being at home after the war?
Went to work like a real fella should. Okay?
So it really didn't change your life all that much?
No.
Okay. Could you describe your medals and
Yeah.
everything that you
Yeah, I
earned?
can. Yeah, I can. Here's the 8th Air Force. That's where I was the 8th. Then we were transferred to the 12th Air Force. Okay? These are the insignias of a master sergeant here. Okay? This is a squadron emblem. This one, 10th Squadron. That, of course, is my dog tag. And that, of course, is a ruptured duct. I was discharged. This is a Purple Heart. That's for wounds received in action. This is an air medal. That's for whatever we done. Well, we got a medal for the air medal. Of course, these ribbons correspond with that. This is a Pacific Theater ribbon, which I participated in wars in the Pacific. This is the American Theater, which I participated in sub-patrols along the Atlantic. This is what they call an undetected crime, a soldier's good medal, a good conduct medal.
Okay.
Undetected crime. This is for, right here's a bar, foreign service, and I got a medal from Harry Truman for that. Now I can't tell you about that because if it wasn't the best in the world.
Okay.
This is the African campaign, and this is a victory, World War II victory medal. Here on this U.S. African campaign is a silver star. That represents 5 major combats. In other words, 5 major invasions we were in. This one is 1 bronze star, which goes with this one. So that tells us we were in trouble somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I can tell you about that. This is an engineer's wings, and this is a combat crew wings. Okay, that's all there's to it.
And that's the aircraft that you flew?
That's in there in the big picture.
Okay. Let's see.
That's it.
Okay.
See there? That took 4 years.
If you could change anything about the war, what would it be?
I'd be up here digging a hole in a hole somewhere.
Okay. What do you think of the war going on in Iraq right now?
I think it stinks and I'm going to be very frank with you. I think it's unnecessary. They've been fighting for thousands and thousands of years. And what has changed? You tell me. You study history, ancient history.
Yeah.
Ever since, well, if you read your Bible, from Jesus' time on, had the most powerful army in the world. Caesar, right?
Yeah.
It fell within. What can I tell you?
Yeah. Could you explain your plaque?
Okay, that plaque. These are stations. This is the 60th Troop Carrier Group. Now what we done, we hauled paratroopers, we pulled gliders, we took care of wounded, brought them back from hospitals. We brought orphans out of Bosnia, the Balkans, wounded people, women and children. Of course, supplied them with arms. You're not supposed to, but we did. And these are the stations I've been stationed at, different places.
Those are all the questions I have. Do you have like any stories or anything that you want to share, maybe? Okay, my mom has a question. Hang on.
No, there is no stories. It was war. Every day was pretty near the same.
Oh.
This, do you want the stations we were at?
If you want, go ahead. Explain what you want.
You don't need them?
Well, you don't, I don't have to, but you can explain whatever you want.
All it
you.
is where with our battles we were in and the stations we were there. That was it.
Okay. Can you tell me how you feel about your oldest grandson, Justin, going into the Marines? What's your opinion on that?
I think it's a good idea.
Great-grandson, sorry.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
As long as he's not used foolishly like they're doing with the other kids. There's nothing like good military training. Discipline.
He needs it. Well, that's about it. That's all I have. Oh, yeah, your Purple Heart. Can you tell why you got your Purple Heart and what it was for? Like, I know it was for wound and
got
combat.
shot.
Where at?
I got hit in the arm and in the back when we got shot down with the airplane, okay?
Okay.
That's why I got shrapnel in there. That's how I got that.
Okay. That's about it. Thank you. A World War II project that we're